El exec, el exec, el exec. El Vélez, el Vélez, el Vélez. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 117 of the Exec Talk podcast. I'm your host, Elvalez. All right, we're getting into those, let's give ourselves a round of applause for being here. Very nice, very nice. So I knew, especially now in this season of sports, this year's an Olympic year, so we're going to have a little bit more to cover in June or July. But hockey's about to be done tonight. Baseball's all we got left, and that's at halfway. We're going to talk about some halfway things a little bit later. NBA is in the off season, and all there is a bunch of rumors and some hires. And, NFL's kind of getting ready for training camp. They're in mandatory OTAs right now. So you're getting your first chance to look at the rookies and stuff like that. Contract disputes. You have the Copa America. You have the Euro Cup. So that's going on. You still have Formula One that's on the first leg of a triple header, going from Spain, which they just raced at, to Austria this upcoming week, to then Silverstone, the British Grand Prix, in 2 weeks. Indy's in full swing. So is NASCAR. So is the NHRA. So is the golf. We're still waiting for the Open. That's in about 3 weeks. And other than that, sports is really dead right now, unfortunately. But I still have to push out content, and it's not like I'm forcing you guys to push out content. I'm not really forcing it here. There's plenty of stuff to talk about. We're gonna start with the NHL and Game 6 of Oilers Panthers in Edmonton. Unfortunately, we lost again, 5-1. And it's getting bad. It's getting really bad. We just lost a 3-0 lead. The Game 7 is tonight at home. We have to win this game. If not, we will be the Detroit Red Wings of 1942, who squandered a 3-0 lead versus the Toronto Maple Leafs all the way back in 1942 for them to win a Stanley Cup. We have to become the Toronto Maple Leafs team that beat the Detroit Red Wings after giving up a 3-0 lead in Game 7 in 1945. That's what we got to do. Hopefully we can. First of all, got to be physical. Of course you can't slash, you can't hook, but got to be physical on the boards. Got to make Edmonton feel you. Another thing, stop turning over the ball, the puck. Sorry, it's not a ball. It's a puck. It's a rubber puck. Stop turning over the puck when you're all the way so deep in your zone. You're all the way by the boards behind the goalie. You lose track of the puck. There's not enough bodies above the puck, and then you have Draisaitl or McDavid running against 2-1 and offsetting, advantage situations, and then we're down 1, we're down 2, we score 1, then we're down 3. We cannot do that. We have to impose our will, play our game, the same game that we won the first 3 games. And it's just plain and simple. Bob has to be magnificent. Sorry about that. Magnificent. He has to stand on his head. He has to be the same goalie he was the first 3 games and the whole playoffs. And if we win, he should win the Conn Smythe. Might go to Connor McDavid just because he's about to break Gretzky's record for points in a playoff run. But I think it should go to Bob. If we win, it should go to Bobrovsky. He's been absolute stalwart back there. If we lose this, South Florida sports is cursed if we lose this. Okay, unfortunately, if we lose this, it's one of those. Then, as a fan of South Florida sports, you start doing this. You're like, are we ever going to win something? It's like, damn, man, the last championship of South Florida was the 2013 NBA championship. The last football one, 1973. The last baseball one, 2003. And no Stanley Cups. Okay? So that's what we're staring at as South Floridian fans of the Miami Marlins, formerly the Florida Marlins, back in the day when they did win the two championships in 97 and in 2003. You know, I don't think we're getting anywhere close to a championship or a World Series or even the playoffs, to be honest, anytime soon in the Miami Marlins. So they're a lost cause. The best chance we got, I guess, is the Dolphins, but with how tough the AFC is and, you know, having Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, especially in our own division, not looking good for our prospects there. NBA, we're an old team. We like getting good on the margins, getting undrafted, you know, free agents and undrafted players and making them something. But at the same time, we need to find another one. We need another Dwayne Wade. I mean, they don't fall out of trees, and this draft does not have any. Okay, unfortunately, this draft is one of the most garbage, weak, forgettable drafts that we will see in the NBA. It is very stringent of talent, void of any elite number one talents. You know, they're saying that the first guy taken, maybe it's Alex Sarr, maybe it's Rozier, maybe it's, you know, Shepard, Rob Dillingham. 6 men, a starter, not no all-stars, not no all-NBA, not no superstars. There's none of that in this draft. Now, can it develop over time? Yeah, of course. Is it going to? No, I don't think so. I think that we're going to definitely see that this draft class does not do much in legacy talks. Unless somebody in the, you know, from a guy like Stephon Castle from Connecticut, UConn, a guy like that, Klingon, maybe Edie, you know, Roach, somebody like that from back in the pack, a veteran, 2-3 years in the college, won a championship. Maybe somebody like that can, like, maybe become an all-star or, like, a couple all-stars here and there, but, like, superstars? Maybe Rod Dillingham is probably, from Kentucky, is probably the closest thing to maybe having that potential of turning into a superstar. Isaiah Collier, Bronny James. I mean, they have potential, but it's not Anthony Edwards, Paolo Banchero, LeBron, Zion, Ja Morant. Like, there's none of those in the draft. Okay. So yeah, as the South Florida sports go, Stanley Cup two years in a row. We lost one last year in 5 games to the Avalanche. You know, I think it was 5. Yeah, it was 5 games to the Avalanche. You know, we come back this year, we get a 3-0 lead, and if we lose at home, we are going to be an embarrassment. Especially to the Edmonton Oilers, bro. Come on, bro. They're going to celebrate in Edmonton? Come on. Let's celebrate in Miami and Sunrise. You know? But it is what it is. And then, what else? Yeah, we suck in baseball. We're okay to all right to good in football. We're great in hockey, but have to finish the job. And in basketball, we are old, mediocre, non-superstar, having... Jimmy's great, but Jimmy is 34. I need a 22, 21 hope for the next 10 years. You know, that's what I need, unfortunately. And we don't got that. Okay, we don't got that. Next. So we had hope, guys. We had hope. for Formula One to maybe have another winner that was not Max Verstappen. We had hope. In qualifying, Norris takes the top spot. Verstappen number 2. George Russell third. And we're just hoping, right? Then the race comes. And unfortunately, the first corner, the race was decided. How was the race decided? Simple. Lights out. They take off. Norris slips a little bit or doesn't react fast enough. Or, Verstappen's car is just better. He's on the outside, so he has the preferred line. But in order to cover off Verstappen from coming into the inside, he pushes Verstappen to the grass. And while he's pushing him to the grass, since they're basically like almost touching, basically slowing themselves down, dragging and creating a bigger bubble of air, this man, George Russell, comes from third and hits the slipstream on Verstappen and Leclerc and Norris to go outside of turn 1 and get the lead. And we thought we had an actual race. Man, we thought it was a momentary lapse in reality for us, because a lap later, Verstappen is passing George Russell for number 1. And then after that, it became basically catch me if you can, 10th here, 2 tenths there. He was complaining about his tires, but still didn't really amount to anything. The only hope that we had was Norris stayed out longer, had the lead again, stayed out 6 laps longer than Verstappen to get his tires. We saw him carve up through the field. I believe he came out 6th or 8th. Carve up through the field to get 2nd. Was running down Max in the last few laps, running him down to 2.2 seconds at the finish line. Ran him down from 9 seconds. But unfortunately, Max Verstappen wins again. And Norris got 2nd. And for the first time this year, my favorite driver, the GOAT, gets on the podium, Mr. Lewis Hamilton, for I believe the 198th time in his illustrious career. Shout out to Lewis. I wish he would win. I wish that, they gave him a car to win. He had a fast car in qualifying. They were good in practice. Came to the race. Was fast, but not fast enough. Ferrari struggled. Aston Martin mightily struggled. Alonso was way in the back all race. Alpines ran well. First race that they actually ran well. They ran well in Catalunya last year, so it was kind of expected. Haas went okay. McLaren with Piastri and Norris were running well. But it was nice to see, 3 different manufacturers on the podium. If you ask me, there is something with Verstappen's car. But at the same time, it could just be Verstappen's talent. Because his teammate finished again, his teammate finished, I believe, like 8th, Perez, Checo, and I hate to say it, guys. I mean, it might be just driver talent, and maybe, Verstappen's just that good, but like, I just feel like that car has something in it. And I felt that for years at this point. It's been 3 years that he's won championships back to back to back. The first year, okay, it was kind of a technicality with the FIA. Probably didn't want, Lewis winning his 7th straight and 8th title. So they were like, okay, well, technicality will give him the championship. The next year, dominance. The next year, dominance. This year, not much dominance, but still plenty dominant to win races and stay above in the points. So one can only hope that by the time we get to Silverstone, hopefully in Austria, he doesn't dominate. The last 3 years, he has dominated at the Red Bull Ring. It's their home track, their home country of Austria. He has absolutely destroyed people at that track. The flares are going to be going off, the orange flares for Verstappen and the Dutch colors. But I think Norris has a little bit something for him this week, and hopefully Verstappen doesn't win. We will hope. Next, Christopher Bell wins at New Hampshire, sweeps the weekend, wins in Xfinity for the third straight time that he goes there. Every time he's gone there, actually fourth straight time since he started in the Xfinity series he wins at New Hampshire. He's won every single time he's been there. This was his fourth start. He won his fourth start. And in Cup, he also won in a race that it was normal until after the second stage. And with 89 laps to go, the rain starts. And then the rain lasted for like 2 hours and 18 minutes, rain delay. And then they go on wet tires. And it turned into half demolition derby, half who can have traction, half are we going to stick on these tires for the rest of the race even though it's drying, half where are we going to get to darkness and we're not going to be able to finish this race? Is it going to rain again? A lot of variables. One variable that did not change, though, is Christopher Bell and that Toyota and JGR, Joe Gibbs Racing once more. Absolutely just dominating. He gets the lead in 2, 3, 4 restarts, and he just takes off. And he was fast. He loves that track. And, I expected him after the Xfinity race to be strong. Chase Elliott was on the pole. Unfortunately, Hendrick couldn't finish the race on top, but still got good points. Everybody's in except Bowman because everybody has wins. Christopher Bell, I believe, is third win of the season, so he's firmly into the playoff race. And yeah, they go next to, I believe they go to Chicago, if not Pocono. I think they go to Pocono, the Tricky Triangle. So we'll see what happens over there. That's always a tricky track. That's why it's called the Tricky Triangle. It's a 3-turn kind of. It looks like a triangle from the drone shot, from overview, from the Goodyear blimp. Always an interesting track with the short chute. Coming down the straightaway, the bump, it's an old track, classic NASCAR track. So we'll see if the classic old people are good at it. Your Denny Hamlins and your Kyle Busches. Josh Berry's been really good. I think that he's prime for a win for Stuart Haas. I don't know where he's going next, but a team that's really good is going to get him, and they're going to get a really good driver and probably a future champion. Next, Alex Palou wins again in Indy. Now, I say again, even though it's been mostly dominated by Penske the last few races, Joseph Newgarden and Will Power and, and Scotty Mack. But, Alex Palou, the professor of precision, the surgeon of precision, gets to Laguna Seca, puts it on pole, and every time he's put it on pole this year, he's won. Nobody can catch him. He's too smooth. He had a hiccup with strategy. They did a super aggressive strategy of putting him on new tires and losing a bunch of track position because they thought that he was the best car on track, and he did. He went through all of them, passed them. And shout out to Alex Palou on leading the points race at this point of the season. Very impressive of him to be fighting for his third championship in a row with such a strong field that we've seen this year. And the last thing is NHRA drag racing. Prayers goes out to John Force, the GOAT. Suffered a horrific crash in round 1 come on, Josh. Come on. Not Bristol. Can you believe I forgot the racetrack? Anyway, I believe it's in Ohio. Hot racetrack at the beginning. Tough to tune. Tough to hold the power. The track was really good. It's one of the only single pour concrete tracks. Single pour concrete tracks in the nation. So it's a very smooth track, but it was very hot, very humid. So in the first few rounds, it was a lot of less power. Let's get down the track. Let's get these round wins. And John Force pulls up to the line, and he wins it. He wins the round. He takes off. He wins the round. He gets to the finish line, and the car goes kablooey. All right, it goes kaboom. It exploded everything. The whole funny car like chassis destroyed itself in the fireball, and the car felt like it was going to his right, and you saw it in the cameras. It was going to his right, and John, being John, the driver, he tried to keep it off the wall, and unfortunately, once he turned it to the left, it turned all the way left, hit the wall super hard on his side, and then basically destroyed the left side of the chassis, the rear drag radial. The right rear tire was flapping with the tethers, so it wouldn't go off, and then he hit straight on to the other side of the track. He was airlifted, went to the hospital. He was being himself. I think he'll be back at the racetrack. He's a 75-year-old man doing this for over 40 years. Is the real GOAT, and shout out to him. Austin Prock won it for him, though. The kid said he wanted to win it for John Force, and said that the Wally was going back to directly to the hospital, and the kid delivered. He keeps going on this incredible run this year after taking over for Robert Height in the Cornwell Tools car. In Top Fuel, Doug Coletta wins again over Sean Langdon. It was a Coletta final. Coletta's looking poised to try to win his second straight championship. In Pro Stock, we had Aaron Stanfield beating Dallas Glenn in a hell of a race. But Aaron Stanfield went 003 on the tree. Absolutely disgusting. Or 006 on the tree, which is a hell of a reaction time, and couldn't catch him. And Gage Herrero wins 10 national events in a row for Pro Stock Motorcycle. The longest streak in the history of drag racing at the NHRA level at any category. And it's really incredible what this kid is doing. Just started riding the bike a year and a half ago, and already is a champion and is on a tear. He's won every single race this year. He raced against Richard Gatson, his teammate, beat him. They both went 023 light. They at the same exact time. Just when Andrew Hines is tuning that bike, and Gage Herrera is behind the wheel, it's a little tough to beat him. So NHRA was good this weekend. A complete change in conditions from round 1, 2, and even the semis. In the semifinal, people started going real fast because it had rained between round 2 and the semis, and it rained and it cooled off the track. When you cool off the track, you got more grip. The cooler the air, more power you can make. So they were making some really good passes at the end, and the finals were the fastest passes of the day. So that was really nice. All right, now let's go to rumors in different sports from Twitter. Okay, from Twitter. So I've bookmarked a couple things. Something that just happened 8 minutes ago. The Minnesota Timberwolves give Chris Finch a 4-year contract extension through 2027-28 season. Finch led the franchise to the Western Conference Finals in his third straight postseason trip. Well-deserved. I think that he has a championship caliber foundation in Minnesota. He's a great coach. They're probably going to be asking for his assistant, Michael Nori. So we'll see if he goes anywhere, if he stays put. But very good signing for the Timberwolves, keeping their Coach of the Year candidate coach there for the long haul for the development of Anthony Edwards. Very, very nice. All right, so what do we got? We have Scotty Barnes getting paid. The All-Star guard got a 5-year maximum rookie extension that could be worth $270 million. By the way, all guaranteed. All guaranteed. Yeah, the guy's like 22. So listen, this is their franchise player. This should have been expected. There's no bigger asset in their team than Scotty Barnes. He had a good season, a bounce back season this year in his junior year in the NBA, his third year after a so-so sophomore season, after a Rookie of the Year first season. He's a really good guard/forward, can defend, can score, can shoot. Just has to get more consistent in his aggressiveness towards the game. He's still young, so I expect that to definitely grow and for him to become more aggressive in looking for his shot, looking to go inside. He's like 6'9". He's long. He went to Florida State. But, shout out to Scotty for that $270 million bag. Next, the Cleveland Cavaliers have picked a head coach. Good job. Good job. The next coach, that is the next person that is going to be leading this Cavaliers squad with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and whatever the hell they want to do with that, is Golden State assistant coach Kenny Atkinson, the former Nets coach. I think that he'll bring a certain level of offensive, efficiency to this team. The defense is fine. You just need offense, bro. You need either to develop a new way to get open shots because the pick and roll with two small guards ain't working. You got to hope that you're healthy. And at the same time, he can't come in and then mess up the defense. You got to have the defense in order to exploit what you can do on offense. I think they have to do a couple of things. They still have Imani Bates. They have people that can grow. But at the same time, I think that this move is just another move sideways. I don't think the Cleveland Cavaliers are even close to winning a championship anytime soon. This is one of the true, franchises. Like, you might do this, but you're not getting back to when LeBron was there and won you a championship. Like, prepare to be championship-less for a long time. Okay? Yeah, we know. We know Cleveland sports is not good either. You think South Florida sports are bad. How about the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cleveland Guardians, formerly the Indians, don't sue me, the Guardians, the Cleveland Browns, does Cleveland have a hockey team? Ohio? Akron? No, I don't think so. Cincinnati Flames. Yeah, the Flames from Cincinnati, I think. But I don't think Ohio itself, like Cleveland, I don't think they have a hockey team. But still, Guardians suck. Not this year. They're pretty good. But they've sucked for a long time. They haven't won a championship in a long time. Cleveland has won one championship in franchise history, 2016. If we're talking about like the NBA era. And then the Cleveland Browns haven't won anything in over 55 years. So, if you're looking for success, that's why you guys love Ohio State, Oh, Kenny Atkinson, he's probably going to get fired within the next 2 years, unfortunately. He's a good coach, but he ain't going to change what's happening over there, man. They don't got no chance against the Bucks, against Boston, against even the Kings, the Nets, the Knicks, sorry, 76ers, Indiana. I don't think that they have much of a shot. Maybe if they do something crazy, bringing up Paul George or something like that to shake things up. But how it's currently constructed, I'm not sure that a championship is anywhere in their horizon. All right, let's get to the nitty-gritty of the rumors. The Sixers could include the number 16 pick and consider even adding Tobias Harris via sign and trade as part of its package. LA has some level of interest in Harris, and if George opts to become a free agent, don't rule out Philly going after him. We've talked about this, that Paul George might be heading to Philly. This would be very dangerous for everybody in the Eastern Conference and, of course, the NBA as a whole, but people that have to face him constantly during the season. Paul George, Embiid, and Maxey is as good a 1-2-3 punch that you can have right now in the league. Super fast, athletic, agile point guard that can shoot. A dominant big man that can absolutely lock down the paint and score 30, 35. And Paul George is that wing that you can put on the best player, the best perimeter player, get really good all NBA defense, and still give you 28, 27, 26 to 30 to big nights of 40, on the other side, especially when they're focusing on Embiid, focusing on Maxey. So that's one rumor. The Golden State Warriors plan on guaranteeing Kevon Looney's $8 million team option. Chris Paul is also expected to push back his guaranteed date for his $30.3 million team option. Warriors seem to be gearing up to make a big splash in the trade market. People are also kind of seeing maybe Paul George to the Warriors. Now, that's a little different. Paul George to the Warriors is basically adding another outlet for Curry to be able to get off the ball and allow for somebody to create besides him off the dribble for Curry to keep moving and get more open shots, because if PG is going, you're going to try to stop PG even though Steph is on the floor. If a guy is just hitting you 5 threes, going inside, getting steals and everything, and the guy wearing number 30 is kind of just running around and shooting shots whenever he gets the ball, you're going to be in some trouble. So I see why the Warriors would want PG, especially on the defensive side as well with Andrew Wiggins. That's a hell of a defensive lineup if you put GP2, Andrew Wiggins, Paul George, Draymond Green. That is an insane Brandon Pajinski. That is an insane, maybe not Brandon, because you have GP2. So you have Steph, GP2, PG, Draymond, and Kevon Looney. That's pretty good right there. That's a pretty good lineup. Another report, Wizards are among the teams in talks with the Knicks of potential trades surrounding Mitchell Robinson. If I'm the Knicks, why would I get rid of the number 1 offensive rebounder in the league? There should be no interest from any team regarding Mitchell Robinson. You know why? Because the Knicks just say, we are not trading him, period. He is a stalwart on the defensive end. He blocks shots, but he's the best offensive rebounder in the league, and he is part of what they do that makes them so good. So if they get rid of him, I am questioning what the hell the Knicks are doing. Another report, the Mavericks have checked in on the Jeremy Grant situation in Portland. Now, this would be another outlet for Kyrie and Luka. He's a scorer. He can score on his own. He can defend. Kind of in the Paul George vein, but a poor man's Paul George. Can score in big numbers, but is not going to be as efficient. Will defend, and you can expect from him to play off the dribble and be able to shoot threes and alleviate, especially if he comes off the bench, alleviate that second unit if he's playing with Kyrie or even Luka, to be able to be a little bit more offensively efficient when Luka's off the floor. So that would be nice. If Klay Thompson leaves, watch Paul George. New York Knicks are a team to watch for Paul George. Understandable. I mean, to get him for Jalen Brunson would be a big help. It's a big step up from Dante DiVincenzo. He moves back to the bench to be a spark plug and a fire starter, coming in a microwave coming off the bench. And it's a pretty good lineup. When you look at Brunson, you would look what? It would be Brunson, PG, or no, Brunson, Josh Hart, PG at the 3, Julius Randle if he's there, or OG Anunoby, and then Julius Randle, or you put Mitchell Robinson at the 5 and maybe OG Anunoby at the 4. Maybe you sit Josh Hart and you put Anunoby at the 2, and then you go PG, Anunoby, Brunson, Mitchell Robinson, and Randle, which is insane, especially defensively. So we'll see. We'll see what comes about that. I think Knicks would be a good move for him. The Pistons are evaluating the trade market for Isaiah Stewart. What is the Pistons evaluating anything for? You think any of your players are on boards for trade targets in anybody's board, bro? You guys lost 27 straight. Monty Williams is fired after 1 year of giving him an $80 million contract. This man's going to be sitting at home and taking in $68.5 million sitting at his house. That's after getting fired from the Suns. So, like, you know, he averaged 10.9 points, 6.6 rebounds, 1.6 assists, shooting basically 39% from 3. So I see the value, but, you know, Pistons evaluating the trade market. Pistons should be reevaluating the whole team, not just the trade market. LeBron James is off the idea of playing with Bronny. He's kept this up for like 2-3 years. But Rich Paul, his agent, tells ESPN if he does, he does. But there's no deal that if LA drafts Bronny at 55, LBJ will resign. If that's the case, I'd force LA to take him at 17. The Lakers can draft Bronny. LeBron may not resign. So this whole thing about the last 3 years wanting to play with his son and all that, consider that out the window. Okay, we talked about the Bulls are in active trade discussion with the Utah Jazz and the 76ers regarding Zach LaVine. This was 3 days ago. I think Zach LaVine should go to a Warriors. I think Zach LaVine could go to a Philadelphia, be just a scorer. In Utah, he would be a scorer too, next to Colin Sexton or even Keontae George. I think he would take off a little shine off Keontae, though. I think Keontae has superstar potential there. But to help him along and everything, he just has to show that he's a winning player, man. You can't just take losing habits everywhere. Let me see if there's anything else regarding anything here. Let's see. Kings, Magic, and Sixers are also in the LaVine train. Let's see. The 76ers are trying to pry KCP, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, from the Nuggets. That would be big. That's a hell of a defender. Eric Gordon is not expected to return to the Phoenix Suns. That's another sharpshooter out there in the market. Heat. You guys that love old players, go get them. We need 3-point shooting. JJ Redick is officially the head coach of the Lakers. We don't know what's going to happen. One might think it's going to be good. One might think they're going to implode. If they don't change the roster, they will implode. I think that they will run more AD-style offense for the future and start weaning off the LeBron-dominant offense, even though they'll probably use him still in critical situations. But I think that JJ's role here is to develop, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Austin Reeves, Max Christie, the young guys, make AD the focal point, let him be a scorer, and a defensive stalwart, which he's always been. So I think JJ will have a good tenure as the Lakers head coach. I don't know if it'll be extremely successful, but I think that, he'll have a good tenure. Brandon Ayuk told Ryan Clark that he's been taking negotiations personal, and that the offers so far have affected him. Ayuk's first choice is to stay in San Francisco, but he is comfortable playing elsewhere if they're willing to trade him. They're supposed to meet today, Monday, meeting he requested. Hopefully they sign him. If they don't sign him, there's going to be a big fish out there for people to try to go get. Let's see here. Michael Penix has signed his 4-year contract, $22.88 million with the Falcons. Denver Nuggets guard Reggie Jackson's picking up his $5.25 million option to return for 2024-2025 season. He averaged 10 points, 3.8 assists in 82 games. Boom, 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 boom. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Isaiah Bucks gets released by the DT, gets released by the Kansas City Chiefs after being arrested multiple times this offseason. Mostly on domestic violence charges. And that's about it for now when it comes to the rumors. Let's go to baseball real quick. See the games that are happening today. It's 6:24, so there's probably games already going on for sure. But we'll take a peek-see at what we have. Let's see here. MLB. All right, today we have the Guardians and Orioles. I expect the Orioles to win that. Let me see who's pitching. It is. Okay, so Guardians have the better pitcher. It's Tanner Bybee. Orioles have Cade Povich, the rookie. I still think Orioles because of the lineup, but if the Guardians get to Cade Povich, Tanner Bybee can have a good night. So, right now it's 52.9%. Matchup predictor says Guardians win. I believe that the Orioles are a stronger full team, though. So I'm going to go with the Orioles. The Phillies, Tigers in Detroit. Aaron Nola versus Casey Mize. We're going with the Phillies here. Not much fanfare there. They're just a better team. They have one of their aces up on the mound, so that's pretty simple. Mariners, Rays. We have Brian Wu in his second start back from the IL against Taj Bradley, the ace of the Rays. The Rays are at home, but I think the Mariners have enough with Brian Wu. He's 3-1. He has a 1.67 ERA, so he's been really good. Taj Bradley's been okay. He's 2-4, 4.06 ERA. If I had to guess, I would say Seattle. I think Brian Wu has another good outing, but Julio's bat has to wake up. Still hasn't. We're halfway through the season. Pirates Reds, one of my favorite matchups. Whenever I see it, we have Braley Falter, I believe he's a rookie or a young kid, going for the Pirates. Carson Spires going for the Reds, another young kid, I believe a rookie. The predictor is Cincinnati right now. They're at home versus the Pirates, 42.2%. I would say I would lean Cincinnati because they're at home, but the Pirates have been playing very good ball. Brian Reynolds is on like a 16-game hitting streak, or 20-game hitting streak, most in baseball. O'Neal Cruz has started to figure it out at the plate. We just need to keep Brian Hayes and Olivares to really start waking up with the bat. But The Reds, Ellie De La Cruz have been picking it up. Steer has been hitting well. They just need, now they need Benson and, those cats, Fairchild, Rayleigh, Fraley, to actually start hitting. But I'm going to go with the Reds there. Blue Jays, Red Sox. We have Chris Bassett going from against Tanner Houck. Tanner Houck, probably the AL leading AL candidate for his Cy Young, 7-5, 2.14, 2.14 ERA, just absolutely stellar. I'm gonna go with the Red Sox. They're at home. Blue Jays have been playing so. Chris Bassett's probably gonna get hit hard by Duran, Devers, O'Neill, But 64.3% the matchup predictor for the Red Sox. So I'm going to go definitely Red Sox in that one. Braves, Cardinals. I'm going to go Braves even though they're on the road. We have Spencer Schwellenbach, the rookie, 1-2 with a 4.96 ERA versus Lance Lynn, the old guy, 2.3, 4.08. The Braves have been hitting Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson. Sean Murphy still has to wake up. So does Orlando Arcia, but Lariano from the former A has been hitting well. Kelnick has been hitting well. So Marcel's still killing it. So overall, I think I'm gonna give it to the Braves here, even though it's the rookie on the mound versus the veteran Lance Lynn. Dodgers, White Sox. This is not even a contest. This is James Paxton versus Garrett Crochet. Okay, it might be a contest. The reason it might be a contest is because of Garrett Crochet. He's averaged over 9 strikeouts the last, I think, 6 starts. He's 6-6 with a 3.25 ERA. He doesn't get run support. James Paxton will probably get run support. He's 7-1 with a 3.65 ERA. So he's been pitching well. I expect the Dodgers to just wipe the floor with the White Sox, even on the road. Ohtani should have probably not against Garrett Crochet, but he should get a hit. But I'm going with the Dodgers there. Yes, I know it's funny. It's the Dodgers, guys. They just destroy people. Come on. Let's see. We also have the Marlins versus the Royals in Kansas City. We're getting destroyed. This is Roddery Munoz for the Marlins. It's probably going to get destroyed, this rookie. Against Cole Reagans, 4-5, 3.13 ERA, really good. One of the leading strikeout leaders in the league. I'm going to go Royals here. I think Bobby Witt has a good night. Salvador Perez has a good night. And if the Marlins win, I'd be shocked, especially against Cole Reagans. I expect Cole Reagans to go 6 or 7 deep, 8 strikeouts. I expect him to be dominant tonight. Rangers, Brewers, tough matchup. Michael Lorenzen for the Rangers. Freddie Peralta, fastball Freddie for the Brewers. I'm going to go with the Brewers because of fastball Freddie. Michael Lorenzen is 4-3 with a 3.0 ERA. Freddie is 5-4 with a 4.06 ERA. But I still believe in the Brewers, especially at home. Churio has to get to hitting again, but Yelich and William Contreras, Adames, Terang, everybody's been hitting pretty well. So, Sal Frelick, I expect the Brewers to come out with the win there, even though the Rangers could pop off. Athletic and Angels, the battle of the mids, or mediocres, I guess you could say. Luis Medina versus Griffin Canning. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go with the Angels. They're at home. I like their lineup with O'Hoppe, Shanoel, Neto, Theis, Ward. But, I wouldn't be surprised if they get smacked by the A's. This is, like I said, this is the battle of the garbage and garbage. But, I'm going to go with the Angels in this one. I'm going to give the Halos a fighting chance. Nationals, Padres, another toss-up. Patrick Corbin for the Nationals. Matt Waldron, the knuckleballer for the Padres. The Padres are 41-41 on the dot at halfway. 82 games exactly through the season. Patrick Corbin is 1-7 with a 5.60 ERA. That means he doesn't get any run support. Matt Waldron, I believe, will get more run support. They're at home. I'm going to go with the Padres here. I believe Tatis has a good game. And, Cronenworth, Hassan Kim, which has been hitting the ball well. And then finally, we have Cubs-Giants, Justin Steele versus Eric Miller. I'm going to go with the Cubs here just because of Justin Steele. I haven't seen Eric Miller pitch much. He's a 2-2 with 4.11. Justin Steele's 0-3, no run support, with a 3.616. Pretty good. So I'm going to go with the Cubs, even though they're on the road. 52-48 is the matchup predictor, 52% to 48% for the Giants. I'm going to believe in Justin Steele, and I believe the Cubs get it done. If we look at the standings, the interesting thing about the MLB standings is that we can't look at the division races anymore. We have to completely look at the wild card. The division races are pretty much done except the Yankees and Orioles. It's 1.5. Everybody else is 9+. It's the Central 7.5. The West in the AL 6, which is still kind of up in the air, I guess. Phillies 7 up on Atlanta, and then 13 up on Washington. So that's not even Milwaukee's up 5 on St. Louis and 7.5 on Pittsburgh, and LA is 8.5 over the Padres. So for the races, they're not really going right now. But when the wild card in the AL, we have 3 there's a separation right now, but from the first team that gets into the wild card, which right now would be the Red Sox, half game above the Royals, and then the Royals are 3.5 games, and they're 4, and the Houston Astros are 4 games from the Boston. So those are your first 3 wild card right now is Houston, Kansas City, Boston in the AL. Tampa Bay is tied with Houston. Texas is a half game behind Houston. Detroit is 5.5. Toronto 6.5. Once you get to the Angels, they're 11. They're out. 6.5 from number 1 means 6.5 from the wild card spot. So from Kansas City, so for that last playoff spot, wild card spot, you have Houston, Tampa Bay, and Texans a half game apart. And then if you want to add in the Detroit Tigers, they're a game back, 2 games back for Toronto. If we go to the National League, you have right now, you would have, all right, now it's getting a little dicey here. Okay, I confuse. My bad. Baltimore's number 1, and Minnesota is number 2 in the wild card. Boston is the 3rd team, and then Kansas City's a half game back. And then from there, Houston is 3.5 games back. So in the AL, it's kind of between Kansas City and Boston, the top 2 spots. Actually, the last spot. In the National League, the Braves are in. They're 5.5 games plus. St. Louis is a game up. And then you have the last spot, which is the Padres, and they're a half game up on Washington, a game up on Arizona, a game up on the Mets, a game and a half up on Pittsburgh, 2 games up on the Cubs, 2.5 games up on Cincinnati, 3 games up on against the Giants. So that is very much still in play. You're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams vying for 1 spot. 8 teams. This season has been a little regression for some of the stars. Julio Rodriguez, Matt Olson. There has been some new stars, showing up. You have Stephen Kwan almost hitting 400 with the Guardians. Arias moving to the Padres and keeping on what he was doing the last 2 years. You have the pitchers that are showing up: Tarek Skubal, Cole Reagans, Tanner Houck. Paul Skeens is a monster. Another 8 strikeout outing, even though they couldn't keep the lead. Just real monsters everywhere. Not the monsters you expect. Gunnar Henderson, of course, he's an MVP type season. So is Bobby Witt. So is Soto. So is Judge. In the NL, William Contreras, I would say. Bryce Harper. Alec Boehm. I don't know about MVP, but definitely like Silver Slugger candidate. So it's some new faces. For Minnesota, Royce Lewis is going absolutely nuts, bonkers with home runs. He's been playing the last 13 games, and he has 7 home runs in 13 games. Insane. Rosarena's not doing well. What you expected. Adolis Garcia not doing what we expected. Vlad not doing what we expected. Even to some extent, Corey Seager. Jordan is still kind of struggling a little bit, even though he's been playing great. Kyle Tucker, I believe, is hurt. Altuve's still in there, kind of. But overall, it's a lot of new faces. But Corbin Carroll struggling. A lot of people that you expect to not struggle that much, they're struggling a lot. So at the halfway point, right now, we have wild card frenzy, especially in the National League. Races are kind of done for the top spots and the wins in divisions, besides a couple that are kind of long races, but, still a chance. But yeah, guys, that has been episode 117 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I'm your host, El Velez. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, follow me on all my socials. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support, and I leave you with the outro.
El fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden